We wanted to give you some extra information about coming back to school and the new instructions we've been given by the government. Until the 8th of March, we have been in lockdown in England. This means that we all have to stay at home, unless we have an essential job that cannot be done at home. Other reasons to leave the house could be for food shopping, going to medical appointments, or having daily exercise to keep us healthy. The government have asked us to live this way because of the COVID-19 virus. This virus moves between people in the particles in our breath, which is why most people are now wearing a mask. We are asked to make space between us and other people we don't live with, and to be clean when sneezing, coughing, and touching things. Being clean means I use a tissue to cough or sneeze into, and then put it in the bin, and also to wash my hands or put on hand sanitizer. Mr. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, told England on Monday the 22nd of February that children will all go back to school from the 8th of March. To make this as safe as possible, he and the medical doctors for England gave schools some extra instructions. These instructions have been put into law, and this means that we have to follow them. All of the instructions we followed in September are still in place. We have to add more instructions for keeping ourselves and others safe so that we can come back to school and the lockdown in England can be eased. Following them will make us feel safe. The instructions are: all children and adults should have a lateral flow test before starting school and being in classes with other pupils. Your parents and carers will be told what day and time to bring you in for yours. Lateral flow tests are used to check if each person has any virus in their body. The swab, that looks like a long cotton wool bud, is gently rubbed at the back of the throat and up your nose, which is where a virus would be if you had a virus. As you can see, you are given a swab when you are to undergo your lateral flow test. You have to carefully open the packet, and it shows you exactly which end to open, and hold the swab with the harder end, making sure nothing touches the softer end that goes into your mouth or up your nose. When carrying out the swab test of your throat, it is really important to put the cotton wool bud as far back as you can. Rub 4 times on one side and 4 times on the other. After you have swabbed your throat, you then need to choose a nostril and put the swab as high as you can without hurting yourself into the nose and twiddle it backwards and forwards on a count to 10. Any pupil or adult that has a positive result to show that there is a virus in their body will be asked to make an appointment with a government testing centre to have a similar test for COVID-19. The government tests go to special scientific laboratories who will be able to see if it is COVID-19. While these pupils or adults are waiting for their test result, they will stay at home and work from home. The lateral flow tests are voluntary, and some pupils and adults might feel worried about having them. It is important to be part of the testing process if you can, as the more people tested, the safer we feel that no one comes into school with a positive result. We have tested nearly everyone who has been attending school during lockdown, and those who were worried were helped by adults and their friends. To help pupils and staff feel less worried, we organised a video of the area, and Mrs. Marriott filmed herself doing the test. Teachers went into booths with pupils so they felt safer, and for those most worried, but who knew it was important to get it done, parents came into school with their child, and Mrs. Marriott helped some by doing the swab for them. Our testing centre. All schools were instructed to set up testing centres when we came back from our Christmas holiday. We asked our own school staff to volunteer to run the testing centre so that this made pupils feel more comfortable as they knew some of the adults. All the testing centre staff had to attend important training delivered by the NHS, and they had to pass tests to show they understood the training. Here is an example of one of the testing booths, and you can see the equipment all set up ready for your test. Miss Salt, our principal, and Mr. Cross, the head of science, are both the testing centre leaders. They also had special important training, and they watch all the adults and children to make sure the rules are followed and everything is done correctly and hygienically. Miss Salt looks a little different in her PPE and with her hair in a ponytail, but you will recognise her straight away. We all look a bit different in masks. We have cleaners in the testing centre all day who make sure everything is clean and hygienic for every pupil and every adult. The cleaners will ensure that anything dropped or spilled is hygienically cleaned straight away. They also use the special disinfectant defogging machine to make sure there are no particles in the air that you should not breathe in. This is especially important between different year group bubbles. Here is an example of our cleaner defogging the testing centre. You might also see her in different areas of the school using the defogging machine in those rooms. All the staff in the testing centre will wear special PPE, personal protective equipment, and this includes an apron, a mask and visor, gloves, and they will have their hair tied back if it is long. They change this PPE on a regular basis, and they ask you to clean down the stations they are working in after every single test. When pupils and adults go for their test, there are very strict hygiene instructions to follow, which the adult will help you with. You'll be asked to use the hand sanitizer many times during your test. This makes sure that your hands are clean before the test, during the test, when you have touched the equipment, and after the test, when you have put your mask back on and are ready to leave. You will also be instructed to use the sanitizer wipes to wipe everything you have touched, the table, the mirror, and the chair. You do this in class, so you are already used to doing this. The adult will remind you, so you do not need to remember all of this. At the end of the testing session and at the end of the day, all of the surfaces and equipment are disinfected again in the centre. The room is disinfectant defogged again, and it is locked up, ready for the next day. The other new instruction that the government has given us is that all children and adults should wear masks at school most of the time, apart from when you're outside and when you're eating your lunch. This is different from before, as we only wore them in the corridors and when moving around the school. Wearing a mask is something new to most of us. Before COVID-19, we only normally saw doctors and nurses wearing masks to keep hospital operations clean. And we may have seen people doing dusty jobs or jobs with chemicals wearing a mask to keep themselves safe from breathing in bad things, like builders or scientists or cleaners. The government's medical doctors have been instructing us to wear masks in public places, such as shops, on buses, and if we went to a medical appointment for a long time now. This is because the mask on our face stops most of the particles in our breath travelling near other people and them breathing it in. So, when we return to school, the government instruction is for pupils and staff to wear a mask when inside any building. This means in the corridor, in the classroom, and when we visit the bathrooms, any time we are inside. Many pupils will feel safer and more comfortable when sat in class when they have their mask on. And you might too. The teachers and other adults will also wear their masks, and this could make hearing them and hearing each other a little bit more difficult. So it will be important to listen carefully to others and not to talk when the teacher is talking. It is natural to feel a little frustrated if you can't hear someone because of their mask, or if someone can't hear you because of your mask. But we must remember how important it is to wear it. There may be some occasions in lesson when you can take your mask off, such as a PE lesson outside. Your teacher will tell you if you can take your mask off, and this example would be because you are outside, where you can social distance, and doing exercise with a mask on could cause you to become out of breath. Some people are exempt from wearing masks because of their disability, medical, or anxiety-related condition. Some of these same people have worked really hard to practice wearing a mask so that they are more comfortable in it. Some of these people have tried really hard but still cannot wear one comfortably. You might be one of those people, and that is okay. All pupils who cannot wear a mask because of their disability, medical or anxiety-related condition have been registered with school by their parents to explain why. Check with your parents and email me if you are unsure. If you, at any time in school, suddenly feel anxious about wearing your mask, or you feel you need some big, deep breaths of fresh air, we will organise to walk outside with you so that you can feel better. Some adults will need to do this as well at times, and we will help them too. Please speak to the teaching assistant or teacher who will get an adult to come to class for you. You should not go out on your own. There are times when we are advised to replace our face mask. This could be if the mask becomes wet or damp for any reason, or it could be damaged. You can bring a spare face mask in a small plastic bag in case this happens, or you can ask your teacher for a new mask and they will organise this. Teachers will not have a box in every classroom, but they can ask for support from another adult to get one for you. One of the previous instructions from the government was about our hand hygiene, and the government medical doctors told us at the beginning of the lockdown that we should wash our hands and use hand sanitizer. It is still important that we do this so that any chance of the virus being on our hands is reduced. By washing our hands and using hand sanitizer, this will get rid of the virus and stop us spreading it when we touch things. In school, we all touch things. We touch our pens and pencils, we touch the laptops and we touch the door handles. There are many things that we touch during the day. So to reduce the chance of having the virus on our hands, we should wash or sanitize when we enter the school at the gate, wash or sanitize when we return from break times, wash or sanitize before we get food from our bag or the canteen and eat it. And lastly, wash or sanitize before we go home to our loved ones. Sanitizer is in every room. Use it when you enter or leave, and you can also ask your teacher during the lesson if you forgot when you entered. We all forget sometimes, and that is natural. Hygiene around the school is also very important. As well as keeping your own hands clean, the regular areas that we use are also kept clean. You may have seen the cleaners working at times in the day that you haven't seen before lockdown. The cleaners are cleaning areas such as the door handles, the banisters on stairways, and other things that we all touch when we walk around the academy. You might not know this, but when you all go out to break time, they come into your classrooms with a special disinfectant defogging machine and spray the rooms. This makes sure the air is purified and everything the spray lands on is disinfected. Some of you will be happy to come back to school to see people you have been separated from because of lockdown. Some of you will be worried about coming back to school as you have been on your own most of the time. Being worried is natural. Many pupils and adults feel this worry too. It is important to share your worries with adults around you so that they can help. When you come back to school, your teachers and teaching assistants will be looking out for signs that pupils are worried. We can talk to you separately from the other pupils. The NHS doctors and nurses are working hard to vaccinate everyone, so it is safer for people to mix more. But until then, we must remember to wear our mask all the time, wash our hands, and make space for others. See you soon.